What are your thoughts on using, probiotics during this change as well, or probiotics for dogs? Do you have much knowledge on that you could share?
Yeah, I love probiotics. So once again, we're supporting the microbiome, the good bacteria. That's what a probiotic is. The thing with probiotics is that there are different types. And so depending on that pet, some don't do well with certain types of probiotics. So I work with a lot of patients with GI disease, like inflammatory bowel disease. And we have to be a little bit careful using. So a lot of the companies will use lactobacillus, bifidobacterium strains. Those are the most common. And if they have like a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, what we call SIBO, where there's too much bad bacteria in the small intestine, what can happen is if we give those pets that type of strain for probiotics, it can actually make them worse. However, what I tend to look for when I'm looking at probiotics is it broad spectrum? Do we have lactobacillus, bifidobacterium? Do we have spore-based probiotics? So the bacillus strains, those are hardy ones. So what happens is they pass all the way through to the large intestine and they feed the good bacteria. And a lot of times they're included with your prebiotics. We need prebiotics. Those are the things that feed the bacteria. They need their food source, because then what happens is the bacteria ferments that and it produces vitamins like B12, your digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatory mediators that help reduce that leaky gut situation, that inflammation. The other part of probiotics too is your yeast based. So people always kind of get like, oh no, not yeast. You don't want yeast, right? That's bad. These are the good yeast. So these are the Saccharomyces boulardii strains. And so if your pet has to go on antibiotics using the Saccharomyces, using your spore base, they're going to survive because they're stronger. So I always look for a broad spectrum that kind of incorporates a lot of those different ones. So that way we're kind of balancing out. I'm looking to see also there's colony forming units, your CFUs. So those will all be different numbers based on whether it's a bifidobacterium, lactobacillus. Those need to be greater than 10 billion CFUs for it to even be any good. Your spore base, so your bacillus, tend to be less because we don't need as much as them. They're stronger. They can survive that path through the GI tract. So that's another thing, is looking at those numbers. It shouldn't just say like proprietary blend and doesn't tell you how much of those are in there, because I mean, the supplement industry is not well regulated, but when we use the right probiotics, they're very powerful at helping with the transition. The other supplement I didn't mention that I always use are digestive enzymes. So carbohydrates are not our pet's normal diet. Their dogs are facultative carnivores. Cats are obligate carnivores. They actually have no physiological requirement for carbs. So when we're transitioning, a lot of times the pH of the stomach is too high because of the inappropriate diet they've been on. So we can use digestive enzymes to help break down the proteins, fats, and carbs, and it makes it easier for them. So if you have to keep your dog on a kibble diet, they should be on a digestive enzyme the entire time, regardless, and that will help them digest. So that's really important too, is using those digestive enzymes to really help that transition and just kind of improve a kind of sluggish GI tract, which a lot of these pets have when they're on processed food diets.